too. And in the modern world, there's a whole lot of perceived danger that isn't actually dangerous, like, oh, this person didn't text me back. Not dangerous. Hey, my name is Jack, and welcome to States Unlocked, the place to learn about social psychology, human behavior, and learn practical tips on how you can improve your life. If you like the sounds of those things, please subscribe and hit like if you like the video. And without further ado, I'm going to crack on with the topic of the video, which is the autonomic nervous system, which is split into two different strands. So I've got my little, pointer thing here, pink pen. So basically, sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for, well, first of all, it's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So I'll start with the sympathetic nervous system, which is basically responsible for the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response, which you may or may not be aware of, is a mechanism our bodies have developed in order to protect ourselves from danger or perceived danger. So as much as we have a modern mindset and, we're in the modern world, we still run off very primal wiring. So years and years and years ago, we did have to look out for dangers constantly in order to ensure our survival. So that part of our brain, the reptilian brain, is, still very much alive and kicking, and it is responsible for this sympathetic response, this fight or flight response, okay? So basically, if you perceive a danger or you're in actual danger, if we didn't have this, basically, we'd be toast, we'd be gone, okay? Because we'd be affected by the danger, we'd basically be killed or whatever. So our brain operates on high alert and it sends us up to a level 10, and it's like, gotta get away from danger. So how does that look like in the body? That looks like hyperarousal. So being in a state of hyperarousal means, your heart might be beating fast, you might just be feeling kind of icky in general, you just feel very anxious, your brain's just going a million miles a minute, okay? So I think we've all been in this state. Some people are really chilled out, and I'm like kind of secretly jealous of those people. But yeah, so that is the sympathetic nervous system. So when we're in the sympathetic nervous system as well, it's important to note that our brains and our bodies are just used to, they are basically not functioning at the best they can be because they're not digesting food and things like that, because that's not important. If you're trying to run away from a lion, your brain is not like, oh yeah, let me just digest some food and things like this, and that's not a priority, okay? It's about getting away from the lion, okay? So that's gonna actually create problems in your digestive system, and that's why a lot of people get IBS, if they get anxiety, or they get kind of like acid reflux, things like this. So basically, the sympathetic is designed, we need the sympathetic, okay? It's not a bad thing, but we need it to just operate. Ideally, it's supposed to operate in short bursts when there is an actual danger. But the problem is that our bodies and minds respond to perceived danger too. And in the modern world, there's a whole lot of perceived danger that isn't actually dangerous, like, oh, this person didn't text me back. Not dangerous. But your brain is thinking, oh no, that is dangerous, because basically the reptilian brain is thinking very much in survival mode, and it's thinking, if that person doesn't text me back, then maybe I'm going to die alone. Maybe I'm not going to be part of any kind of tribe, but then I'm going to be alone because of, and that's going to equal death. So that is a very real fear. So for two reasons. One, for that reason I just said that, we need to be part of a tribe, and that fear of being alone. Because years ago, that was actually a real danger. If you were exiled from your tribe, your family, whatever, it did equal death because, everyone worked in teams. But the other reason too is because of attachment. So basically, we need to attach to people, like to our mothers, when we are children. And if there is an attachment wound there, or we don't really have a good sense of attachment, this can actually lead to death. Because if a baby is not actually picked up and doesn't form that sense of attachment, it can actually die. It needs human touch. So basically all I'm saying is the sympathetic hasn't caught up to the reality of the situation that we live today, okay? So this is something to bear in mind, because you may very well be thinking, oh, why am I like this? Why is my mind whizzing a million miles a minute? Why can I not sleep? Why this, that, the other? So if you've gone through a lot of trauma or a lot of stress in your life, then you can be sympathetic dominant, which, to be honest, sucks. It really sucks. And it's not even just about trauma too. It could just be habits you've got. So, for example, just, if you have a stressful job, or you're on social media all the time, or things like this, that are activating the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system. So on the flip side, you have the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I don't know the etymology of this word. I don't know the root, but I do know in Spanish, para means to stop. And, it's like stop sympathetic nervous system. So the parasympathetic nervous system is the brake, also known as the rest and digest. So this is a really important branch of the nervous system. It helps us to replenish and it helps us to restore. But the thing is that we really want to be parasympathetic dominant, okay? So while they're both, it's all about about them working in tandem. It's not about just one or the other, but we want to be more parasympathetic dominant, because this means that we're going to be digesting food. We're going to be able to operate from our higher executive functioning, our prefrontal cortex. Okay, that's going to be online, the part of our brain that is the watchtower that can see things from a bird's eye view and see the best options and things. But if we're operating from the sympathetic all the time, that means we're more likely to be operating from the amygdala. So just constantly like reactivity, thinking, kind of not in the best way, not in the most productive way for us. So yeah, as I say, the parasympathetic nervous system is the place you want to be at, basically. And you might be thinking, well, how the hell do I get into the parasympathetic nervous system? Now, I'm not an expert on this at all, so I'm not trying to claim that I am. However, it's something that over the years I've picked up a couple of little things here and there. So there are ways to try to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, some of those things are blatantly obvious, but I'm going to say them anyway, because what seems obvious isn't always obvious. So breathing, which I know sounds tedious as hell. Like when people are like, have you tried breathing? It's when you're feeling anxious, it's just so annoying. But breathing is one of the main things to regulate our parasympathetic nervous system. Anything that's just basically a chilled activity can activate the parasympathetic nervous system. For example, high intensity exercise. What do you think that is? Sympathetic or parasympathetic? It's sympathetic. Okay, so that is like creating stress on the body. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, this is another thing I want to come back to as well, and probably in another topic about stress, that people perceive stress to be, that's a whole other topic in general, because actually like stress is split down into different types of stress, and there's good stress, bad stress, etc. But yeah, so the parasympathetic nervous system can be activated also through meditation. It can be activated through feeling safe with people. If you have decent friendships, if you have good friendships where you feel that, they're being demonstrative and communicative with love, and you really feel it. It's not just words, you feel it. You feel safe with that person. Then you're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is healing. It's restoring your body. That branch of the nervous system is so fundamental and crucial to basically have a good life, to enjoy our lives. So it's definitely something I'm continuing to learn more and more about. There's probably more information on YouTube and online in general about how to get into the parasympathetic nervous system. But this is just an overview of the two different branches of the autonomic nervous system, the ANS. And I hope you found this informative. If you have, please like the video. It really does help me with the algorithm. Also, if you found it interesting, why not share it with someone that you think might enjoy it? And the last request, which I know I'm just like bombarding you with them at this stage, but if you could subscribe and also hit the bell icon if you want to, this will really help more people see my videos, which is a goal of mine at the moment. But thanks very much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll answer every single one, and I will see you on the flip side. Ciao for now.